The elevator to the 54th floor felt like a slow climb to Judgment Day. I clutched my tablet, schedules synced, files organized, coffee order memorized, wondering if I'd just made the worst decision of my life. The view through the glass walls was breathtaking, soul spreading beneath me in glittering sprawl. But it felt more like a cage than a kingdom. Everything was too high, too cold, too silent. The doors opened with a whisper of expensive machinery. Floor 54, Executive Suite. Hyuntech Industries. Kong Hyunwoo's domain. I stepped into a corridor of marble and glass where my footsteps echoed too loudly. A woman in a perfect gray suit rushed past, then stopped, turning back to look at me with something like pity. "You're the new PA?" "Lee Jae-min," I said, offering my brightest smile. "Starting today." She didn't smile back. "How long do you think you'll last?" "I'm sorry. The last one made it 6 hours. The one before that, 3 days. Before that." She shook her head. "He doesn't speak. At all. Just stares at you until you want to crawl into the floor. Good luck." She walked away before I could respond. My palms started to sweat. But I'd come too far to turn back now. I needed this job. Needed the salary, the experience, the chance to prove that a working-class Omega could survive in this world of glass towers and alpha executives. The corner office loomed ahead. Walls of windows, a door that probably cost more than my entire year's rent. Through the glass, I could see him. Kong Hyunwoo, my new boss. He sat behind a desk the size of a small car, fingers flying over a keyboard, 3 monitors glowing before him. Dark hair, sharp suit, shoulders that carried the weight of a billion-won empire. He didn't look up, didn't acknowledge my approach. The entire floor could have exploded, and I don't think he would have noticed. I knocked. Nothing. Knocked again. Still nothing. Screw it. I opened the door. The typing stopped. For one heartbeat, the only sound was the hum of computers and my own pulse thundering in my ears. Then slowly, so slowly it felt deliberate, he looked up. And I forgot how to breathe. He was beautiful. Devastatingly. Impossibly beautiful in that way that made you understand why people wrote poetry about angles of jaw and darkness of eyes. But it was his expression that stopped me cold. Not angry. Not welcoming. Just empty. Like looking at a frozen lake. You could see the surface, but had no idea what lay beneath. Our eyes met. He raised 2 fingers. Not a greeting. A gesture. Curt. Dismissive. I realized what it meant. Put the coffee down. Get out. But I didn't move. Instead, I smiled, bright and probably too eager, and said, "Good morning, Mr. Kong. I'm Lee Jae-min, your new personal assistant. I know you have a reputation for silence, and that's fine. I talk enough for both of us. I brought your coffee. Extra hot, no sugar, exactly as specified. Your 9 o'clock meeting is in 43 minutes, which gives us just enough time for me to reorganize this desk because, no offense, sir, this filing system is absolute chaos. We have 17 unread emails marked urgent, 3 of which actually are urgent, and..." His fingers had stopped moving. For the first time since I entered, he was completely still. I took a breath and kept going. And I know exactly how to fix all of it. So where would you like me to start? Silence. The kind that pressed against your ears and made you want to fill it with more words. But I'd said my piece. Now I just had to wait. Kong Hyunwoo stared at me for what felt like an eternity. Then his fingers moved, not to his keyboard, but to a notepad. He wrote something, turned it around. 3 words in sharp, precise handwriting. "We'll see." I grinned. "Yes, sir. We absolutely will." Before I tell you what happens next, subscribe to Starry-Eyed Lovers and tell me where you're watching from. Day 1, Hour 3, and I was already breaking every unspoken rule. Okay, so these emails are sorted by urgency, not chronology. I narrated to the empty office, clicking through Hyunwoo's overflowing inbox. Board meeting prep, urgent. Vendor complaint, medium priority. This one from marketing about font sizes? Absolutely not urgent. Hyunwoo didn't look up from his center monitor. His fingers continued their relentless dance across the keyboard. A steady rhythm I was learning meant he was deep in code. Fast typing meant coding. Slow, deliberate typing meant emails. No typing at all meant he was reading something that annoyed him. "Someone named Min Jisoo sent you 12 emails in the past hour," I continued. "That feels excessive. Should I schedule you to a meeting?" Nothing. Not even a pause in the typing. Park Sun-hee from accounting had warned me. "He won't talk to you. He won't acknowledge you exist unless you make a mistake. Then you'll get an email. 3 sentences maximum. And then you'll quit. But being told I can't do something only makes me want to prove I can." By day 2, I'd established a routine. Arrive at 7, 30 minutes before Hyunwoo. Make his coffee, extra hot, no sugar, plain white mug. Organize his desk while narrating. These contracts go in urgent signatures. This mysterious USB drive goes in the drawer. These dead pens go in the trash because what's the point of keeping dead pens, Mr. Kong? He arrived at 7:30, walked past me without a glance, and sat down. I'd placed his coffee exactly where he liked it. He picked it up, took a sip, set it down. Not a word. Not a nod. Nothing. But he drank the coffee. Day 3, I brought lunch. I'd noticed Hyunwoo never left his office between 9 and 6. So I ordered 2 containers of bibimbap and set one on his desk at noon. I got you dulcet bibimbap, I said, unpacking my own at the corner table. The stone pot keeps it hot. The crispy rice at the bottom is the best part. Life-changing, actually. I mixed mine enthusiastically. When I looked up, Hyunwoo had stopped typing. He stared at the container like it might explode. It's not poisoned, I offered cheerfully. I'm eating the same thing. Something flickered across his face. Amusement? Confusion? Then it was gone. 20 minutes later, I heard the soft scrape of spoon against stone. He was eating, eyes never leaving his monitor. The container was completely empty when I returned to my desk. Day 4, I got brave. I was thinking you need a system for these board reports, I said while filing. What if I created a shared drive with subfolders by quarter? Then people can access them without bothering you. Which seems like the dream, not being bothered. His typing slowed. Just slightly. I'll take that as tacit approval. Oh, and HR wants to know if you'll attend the company dinner next month. I'm guessing that's a hard no. Consider yourself asked. I'll tell them you're strategically unavailable. The corner of his mouth twitched. Not quite a smile, but something. By day 5, the other employees looked at me like I was insane. You talk to yourself all day? Park Sun, he asked. I talk to him, I corrected. He just doesn't talk back. Yet. He won't. I've worked here 6 years. He spoke exactly twice. Once during his interview, once during a fire drill. That's it. Maybe I'll be the 3rd time. She shook her head and left. But here's what they didn't know. Hyunwoo was listening. When I told stories, his typing slowed. When I narrated my lunch, this kimchi jjigae is life-altering. His shoulders relaxed just a fraction. And when I brought him the same lunch the next day, he finished every drop. On day 5, I arrived to find a yellow post-it note stuck to my keyboard. 3 words in sharp, precise handwriting. The kimchi jjigae was good. I stared at it for a full minute. 3 words. The verbal equivalent of a thunderstorm from a man who specialized in silence. Through the glass wall, I could see Hyunwoo at his desk, fingers moving across the keyboard. He didn't look at me, didn't acknowledge the note. But he'd left it. I pressed the post-it carefully into my planner and smiled. 3 words. It was a start. The post-it notes multiplied. Week 2 brought coffee was perfect today. Week 3. Thank you for the file reorganization. By week 4, one just said, ha, in response to my story about a pigeon attacking someone's sandwich. You think I'm funny, I'd said aloud. Hyunwoo's typing hadn't paused, but his shoulders were relaxed. He was listening. The emails started shortly after. Not curt 3-sentence varieties. These were different. Regarding your question about Q2 projections, the discrepancy you noticed is intentional. VP Min requested additional funds for a campaign I didn't approve. Please create a folder labeled Budget Anomalies. Also, your comment about the coffee machine screaming in existential crisis was accurate. I'd laughed so hard I snorted. By month 2, we had a language. The slight lip quirk meant amusement. Jaw clench meant stress. Finger drum meant he was thinking. When he'd lean back and close his eyes for 30 seconds. Tired. I'd quietly place fresh coffee and dim the lights. The next day, a post-it saying the coffee helped. The late night started week 6. VP Min is requesting an emergency board presentation. Park Sun, he said at 7 p.m. He's claiming the security protocol has vulnerabilities. Hyunwoo's jaw clenched hard. He typed and showed me his phone. He's lying. The protocol is fine. He wants to embarrass me. I need to run diagnostics to prove it. 72 hours. I grabbed my laptop. You code, I'll document. You don't have to stay. I know, but I'm going to. Before I tell you what happens next, subscribe to Starry-Eyed Lovers and tell me where you're watching from. That night, I discovered his sense of humor. At 2 a.m., I'd sent him a gif of a keyboard exploding. He'd sent back someone face-planting into their desk. Then a cat falling asleep mid-step. I'd started laughing, really laughing. When I looked up, he was watching through the glass wall. Not the empty stare from day 1. This was softer. Almost fond. You should go home, he typed. Not until you do. Stubborn. You're just figuring this out? A pause. I like that about you. My heart did something stupid. We stayed until dawn. The diagnostics proved the protocol was flawless. VP Min's claims were baseless. Monday's presentation was perfect. VP Min left looking like he'd swallowed glass. Thank you, Hyunwoo typed. I couldn't have done this without you. I saved that message. The late nights became routine as VP Min escalated. Each time we worked together. Each time I learned something new. How he coded with eyes half closed when focused. How he only drank water after midnight. How lonely he must be, carrying an empire in silence. Week 9 changed everything. Hyunwoo stepped out to meet building security. I was organizing files when I accidentally clicked a folder labeled Personal Old. I should have closed it, but the thumbnail showed a young boy with Hyunwoo's eyes. The video was from a school presentation. Young Hyunwoo stood before a classroom, note cards trembling. When he spoke, the stutter was severe. MMIPP project is a B-bout. Someone laughed. Then another. Spit it out. Are you broken? He'd run from the room. There were more videos. Years of them. Middle school, high school. The stutter worsening. Bullying intensifying. Teachers who didn't intervene. The last video. Hyunwoo at 16 in a therapist's office. I've decided, his voice halting but determined. I'm not going to speak in anymore. If I don't speak, they can't make fun of how I speak. Hyunwoo, that's not a solution. It's my solution. I'm done being their J-joke. The video ended. I sat frozen, tears streaming. All this time, I'd been filling his silence with noise, never realizing the silence was armor born from years of cruelty. What are you doing? I spun. Hyunwoo stood in the doorway, face bloodless. His eyes went to the screen, to his younger self. Every wall I'd spent 2 months dismantling, back up instantly. His expression went cold, empty, exactly like day one. He crossed to his desk, typed 2 words, turned the monitor. Leave. Now. Hyunwoo, I'm sorry, I didn't mean. His hand slashed through the air. Stop. He pointed at the door. Please. He turned his back. Completely. A dismissal so absolute it felt like a physical blow. I left. I'd learned his language over 2 months. Every micro-expression, every gesture. But I'd never seen this one. Until I reached the elevator, until the doors started closing, I didn't recognize what I'd seen before he'd turned away. Not anger. Devastation. The silence was different now. Before, it had been companionable. Now it was a wall of ice, and I was on the wrong side. Day 1, Hyunwoo didn't come to the office. Day 2, he arrived before me. When I walked in, he turned his chair so his back faced me. I'd tried. Mr. Kong, His hand shot up. Stop. I left his coffee anyway. Black. Extra hot. No sugar. He never touched it. Day 3, I broke. I called his voicemail. Hyunwoo, please. I know I violated your privacy. But what I saw doesn't change anything. It makes you braver. Stronger. Please. Talk to me. He never called back. But he listened to the message 7 times. Never deleted it. I left 3 more over the next days. Each one desperate. All listened to. None deleted. The office felt arctic. VP Min looked pleased, which made my stomach turn. Whatever was happening between us was weakening us. On the 3rd night, 11:47 p.m., my phone exploded with notifications. Emergency board meeting. Midnight. VP Min had filed complaints, negligence, security breaches, financial mismanagement, calling for Hyunwoo's immediate removal. The takeover. Timed perfectly for when we were fractured. I drove without thinking. The 54th floor blazed with light. Hyunwoo stood at the windows, silhouetted against Seoul's nightscape. We have 72 hours, I said. VP Min filed tonight. Emergency board vote Monday noon. We need evidence. He turned slowly. Eyes red. Why are you here? Appeared on his phone. Because you need help. You betrayed my trust. The words hit like a slap. But I deserved them. I know. I'm sorry. But right now, VP Min is trying to destroy everything you've built. So hate me if you want. But let me help you win this first. He stared, then nodded once. We worked in silence. Hour 12, I ordered food. Hour 24, coffee. Hour 36, I found it. Emails from VP Min discussing removing Kong before he discovers the offshore accounts. Evidence of embezzlement. Hyunwoo actually smiled. Grim, but real. Hour 45, we had everything. Documentation, evidence, a presentation that would destroy VP Min. Hour 50, I found Hyunwoo with his head in his hands, shoulders shaking. Crying. Silently, I dropped to my knees beside his chair. Hyunwoo. His hands covered his face. I'm sorry, I whispered. I saw those videos and all I wanted was to protect that kid. Protect you. You were never broken. Never the joke. You were brilliant and brave. His hands dropped. His eyes met mine, red-rimmed and devastated and raw. And then he spoke. You. His voice was rusty, hesitant, but beautiful. You make the silence bearable. I stopped breathing. Before you, he continued, each word careful. It was just empty. But you fill it. With words and stories and stupid jokes about pigeons. And I was so angry. Not because you saw. Because you saw and you stayed. I would never run. Everyone runs. Everyone always runs. I'm not everyone. No. His expression softened. You're really not. The space between us felt electric. I was still on my knees. He was leaning down. Jaemin, he whispered, my name perfect in his voice. Yeah, I'm going to kiss you now. I closed the distance. The kiss was desperate and tender. His hands cupped my face, trembling. I gripped his shirt, pulling him closer, pouring 2 months of longing and 3 days of agony into this moment. When we broke apart, gasping, his forehead rested against mine. Your voice, I whispered. It's beautiful. He laughed, actually laughed. It's broken. It's perfect. You're perfect. We stayed like that until sunrise painted the office gold. We should finish the slides, Hyunwoo said, voice stronger now. We should. Neither of us moved. Jaemin. Yeah. Thank you. For staying. For fighting. For making the silence full instead of empty. I kissed him again, softer. Always. Monday noon, we walked into the boardroom together. VP Min's smug expression faltered. The presentation was flawless. Every claim demolished. Every accusation disproven. Evidence of VP Min's embezzlement? Incontrovertible. By 12:47, VP Min was being escorted out by security. By 1 o'clock, unanimous confidence in CEO Kang Hyunwoo. We'd won. Both battles. In the elevator down, Hyunwoo's hand found mine. He didn't speak. Didn't need to. I'd learned his language. And now he was learning to speak mine. We tried to be careful. The first week after the kiss, we maintained perfect professionalism during office hours. But at 6:01 p.m., when the last employee left, the door would lock. And Hyunwoo would cross to where I sat and kiss me like he'd been starving for it. Missed you, he'd murmur, voice growing stronger each time he used it. I was literally 15 feet away. Too far. Week 2 brought actual dates. Restaurants an hour outside Seoul where nobody knew the Ice King CEO. Corner booths where he'd tell me things. About being 7 and realizing his words came out wrong. About therapy that helped, then didn't. About the decision at 16 to just stop. I thought silence would protect me, he said, fingers tracing patterns on my hand. It did. But it also isolated me. Until you refused to let me hide. I'm annoying like that. He smiled, the real kind. You're perfect like that. I told him my stories too. Growing up poor with my grandmother. Being an omega in a world that assumed that meant weak less. Fighting through university on scholarships while working 3 jobs. The constant whispers. He's only here because of quotas. Omegas don't belong in business. They were wrong, Hyunwoo said fiercely. You're the smartest person I know. The bravest. I'd kissed him to shut him up. Week 3, we got sloppy. Late, nearly midnight. We'd been celebrating with takeout. Hyunwoo laughed at something I said, a real laugh, loud and unguarded. He'd pulled me into his lap and kissed me. We'd lost track of time, lost track of everything. The camera flash through the window was blinding. By morning, we were everywhere. Ice King CEO's secret romance. Hyuntech scandal. CEO dating his assistant. Who is Lee Jaemin? My phone wouldn't stop ringing. Reporters camped outside my apartment. Hyunwoo called an all-staff meeting. Typed on the projected screen. My personal life is not up for discussion. Anyone who harasses Jaemin will be terminated. Get back to work. It didn't help. The board called an emergency meeting. Hyunwoo's mother demanded a private audience. This ends now, she said, not to me, to Hyunwoo. Whatever this is, it ends. You're making a fool of yourself. Of this family. Hyunwoo pulled out his phone, typed. No. Excuse me? No, he said aloud, voice stronger now. I won't end it. I won't pretend he doesn't matter. I won't go back to being alone. His mother went white. You're speaking. What did you do to him? She turned on me. He loved me, I said quietly. I loved him back. Love. She spat it like poison. You're an opportunist. You want his money. I want him. Just him. You're an omega. You'll end up pregnant and trap him. Mother. Hyunwoo's voice cut like a blade. Leave. Now, don't come back until you can speak to him with respect. She left. But the damage was done. The board meeting was worse. Accusations of impropriety. Workplace harassment. Suggestions I'd seduced my way into my position. We're calling a vote of confidence, one board member said. Perhaps it's time for new leadership. I watched Hyunwoo's face go blank. The wall's going up again. I couldn't let that happen. No, I said, standing. You don't get to do this. He's the best CEO this company has ever had. He's tripled your profits. He caught VP Min embezzling millions. And you want to fire him because he dared to be happy? Because he's with me? Mr. Lee, this isn't appropriate. Neither is this meeting. We've done nothing wrong. We're adults in a consensual relationship. The only people making it a problem are you. Silence. Board members looked at each other. Then Hyunwoo stood, walked to me, took my hand in full view of everyone. Emergency press conference, he said. Now, the press room was packed. Cameras everywhere. Hyunwoo stood at the podium, terrified. But he didn't run. I have a statement, he said, and the room went silent. The Ice King CEO was speaking publicly. Lee Jae-min is my partner. We're in a relationship. It's real, it's serious, and it's no one's business but ours. Anyone who has a problem can direct concerns to me. But understand, I won't apologize for loving him. I won't hide. I won't go back to being silent. Not anymore. He looked at the cameras. At me. He taught me that silence isn't strength. Connection is. Love is. And I choose him. Every day. The room erupted. Questions flying. Cameras flashing. Hyunwoo walked straight to me and kissed me. Right there. In front of everyone. When we broke apart, he whispered, "No more hiding. No more hiding." His hand found mine. We walked out together. Let them see. This man, brilliant, brave, beautiful, was mine. And I was his. Always. The nausea hit at 7:15 a.m., 3 months after the press conference. I barely made it to the bathroom. Hyunwoo found me 10 minutes later, forehead pressed against cool tile. Again, 4th morning this week. Stress, I managed. You need a doctor. I'm fine. Jae-min. He knelt beside me. Please. For me. I went because he asked. Because the exhaustion was getting worse. Because I'd cried at a coffee commercial yesterday. Dr. Park ran through standard questions. Sleep. Terrible. Appetite. Non-existent. Stress. Through the roof. Any chance you could be pregnant? I'd laughed. No. I'm on suppressants. Humor me. She handed me a cup. 15 minutes later. The test is positive. You're pregnant. The world tilted. That's not, I can't be. Suppressants are 98% effective. You're in the 2%. She smiled gently. Let's do an ultrasound. The gel was cold. Dr. Park went very quiet, moving the wand slowly. Is something wrong? No. Just. She turned the screen. You see these 3 gestational sacs? You're 6 weeks pregnant with triplets. 3. 3 babies. 3 babies. All with strong heartbeats. I couldn't breathe. 3 babies. My career. The company. How was I supposed to? Do you want me to get Hyunwoo? I nodded. He came in terrified. What's wrong? Are you sick? Before I tell you what happens next, subscribe to Starry-Eyed Lovers and tell me where you're watching from. I'm pregnant, I blurted. 6 weeks. With triplets. Hyunwoo froze. His eyes went to the screen, to 3 tiny shadows. 3, he whispered. I know it's not the plan, we weren't trying. 3 babies. His voice stronger now. We're having 3 babies. Hyunwoo, you're giving me a family. His eyes were wet, hands shaking as they cupped my face. 3 little lives. 3 tiny heartbeats. How could I be anything but happy? But my career, the timing. Perfect. He was crying now. The timing is perfect. You're perfect. I never thought I'd have this. A family. Love. Children. I never let myself want it because I thought I'd always be alone. You're not alone. Never. He kissed me, desperate and tender, one hand on my face, the other on my stomach. 3 babies, he said again. We're going to have 3 babies. We told Park Sun-hee first. She screamed and hugged me, then turned to Hyunwoo with tears. You're going to be a father. 3 times over. He nodded, speechless, but his smile said everything. The company announcement came next. Hyunwoo stood before everyone. Jae-min and I are expecting triplets. We're thrilled. Any congratulations welcome. Any negativity will not be tolerated. Overwhelming response. Applause. Cheers. Flowers on my desk. Messages of support. But not everyone was happy. The media exploded. Ice King CEO's secret baby scandal. now with triplets. 3 babies, career move or carelessness? Emergency board meeting. Again, one member stood. This is reckless. Unprofessional. An Omega pregnant with triplets can't possibly work effectively. Hyunwoo's hand slammed the table. Enough. Voice like steel. My partner is pregnant. This is celebration, not criticism. And if you think I'm going to let you turn this into a problem, you're wrong. Mr. Kong, we're concerned. Then I'll address it. Effective immediately, Hyuntech implements new parental leave policies. 16 weeks paid for all parents. Flexible work arrangements. On-site childcare facilities. The room erupted. But Hyunwoo kept talking. We're also instituting anti-discrimination policies. No employee penalized for pregnancy or family obligations. We're becoming the most family-friendly tech company in Korea. Any board member with a problem, there's the door. Silence. These changes will increase employee satisfaction, improve retention, position us as industry leaders. It's good for people in business. Questions? No one spoke. Meeting adjourned. That night, I found him on the couch with parenting books. Hyunwoo. He looked up, eyes bright. Did you know triplets are usually born around 32 weeks? We need cribs. 3 cribs. Car seats. Bottles. We should probably move. This place is too small for 5 people. I sat beside him. You've been researching. For 3 hours. He took my hand, placed it over my stomach. They're in there. 3 tiny humans. Ours. You're really happy. I'm terrified, he admitted. I don't know how to be a father. What if I mess them up? You won't. How do you know? Because you're already worrying. Because you bought parenting books. Because you love them already, and they're barely the size of blueberries. He pulled me close. We're going to have a family. A real family. We already are a family. A bigger family. With 3 tiny, loud, chaotic additions. Loud and chaotic. You, the man who worked in perfect silence. He laughed. Good. I'm done with silence. Bring on the noise. I fell asleep that night with his hand on my stomach, his voice soft. I'm going to love you so much, he whispered to babies who couldn't hear yet. All 3 of you. You're going to have everything I never had. Love. Acceptance. A parent who talks to you, who listens. You're going to be so loved. And listening to him, I knew. These babies were already the luckiest children in the world. 26 weeks. The babies were the size of eggplants, kicking constantly. Dr. Park said everything was progressing well. Textbook triplet pregnancy. She was wrong. VP Min struck first. Emergency board meeting. Vote of no confidence. CEO Kong Hyunwoo's fitness to lead. Hyunwoo went white. He's claiming I'm compromised. That my personal situation makes me unfit. That's ridiculous. He's built a case. Board members who support him. The pregnancy as evidence of reckless behavior. Then his mother arrived. This ends now, Jaemin. You will handle this pregnancy. Terminate it. Give them up. I don't care which. But you will not destroy my son's life. Hyunwoo stepped between us. Get out. Now. Don't come back. Ever. She left, but her words lingered like poison. The media was worse. Op-eds calling me an Omega opportunist. How Lee Jae-min trapped Korea's Ice King. I stopped reading. The stress was constant. Every day brought new attacks. Hyunwoo worked 18-hour days, building his defense. I watched him get thinner, paler. You need to rest, I'd say. After the vote. After I've secured our future. Our future. 3 babies who kicked inside me, unaware the world wanted to destroy them. The pain came at 3 a.m. on a Tuesday. Sharp. Vicious. Low in my abdomen. Jaemin. Hyunwoo was awake instantly. Something's wrong. Another pain. Worse. Then wetness. Blood. The hospital was a blur. Dr. Park's face grave. You're in preterm labor. 26 weeks. The babies aren't ready. We need to stop this. They hooked me up to monitors, started medications. The contractions kept coming. 3 tiny heartbeats flickered, too fast, too stressed. Please, I whispered. Please don't take them. They're not ready. Hyunwoo held my hand, silent tears streaming. The medications are working, Dr. Park said. Contractions are slowing. But you need complete bed rest. Any stress could trigger labor again. She didn't finish. Didn't need to. The board meeting was in 6 hours. You have to go, I told Hyunwoo. I'm not leaving you. You have to. If you don't show up, VP Min wins by default. I don't care about the company. I care about you. About them. Go. Win. Show them we're not weak. I'll be here when you get back. Jaemin. Be the father our children deserve. Someone who doesn't back down. He kissed me, desperate and fierce, then left. Park Sun-hee arrived. I'm not leaving you alone. Tell me if anything changes. At 9:47, my phone buzzed. A message from the boardroom. He's speaking. Really speaking. They sent a recording. Hyun-woo's voice stronger than ever. VP Min claims I'm compromised. Let me address that directly. 6 months ago, I was alone. Silent. I'd convinced myself isolation was strength. I was wrong. Lee Jae-min taught me that. He refused to accept my silence. He filled the emptiness with life. My eyes streamed. VP Min calls my relationship a compromise. I call it completion. Before Jae-min, I was half a person. Now I'm whole. Before, I worked for profit. Now I work for something real. A family. Children who will inherit the world we're building. His voice grew fiercer. VP Min has been embezzling for 3 years. I have documentation. Bank records. Offshore accounts. 12 million won stolen. And he questions my fitness to lead? I have plans for Hyuntek's next 5 years. AI security expansion. International partnerships. Projected growth of 300%. I've tripled your investments. Made you all wealthy. But more than that, I've made this company human. Family-friendly policies others are copying. Anti-discrimination measures. We've cut turnover by 60%. That's not compromise. That's evolution. A pause. I am not compromised. I am complete. Fire me if you want. But you'll lose the best thing that happened to this company. A CEO who finally understands what matters. Not profit alone, but people. Family. Building something that lasts. Right now, my partner is in the hospital fighting to keep our children safe. He's 26 weeks pregnant with triplets. Every moment I'm here, I'm not with him. But he told me to fight. To show you that love doesn't make you vulnerable. It makes you stronger. So vote. But know this, you're not just losing a CEO. You're losing someone who learned what leadership actually means. Leading with heart. Not just head. The recording ended. I was sobbing. An hour later, Hyun-woo walked in. The vote was unanimous. VP Min is out. I'm staying. You did it. We did it. Hand gentle on my stomach. How are they? Stable. Waiting for their appa. He pressed his forehead to mine. I'm not going anywhere. That speech was true. Every word. On the monitors, 3 heartbeats flickered steady and strong. We'd survived. Together. 8 weeks in a hospital bed. 8 weeks of monitoring, medications, and mounting anxiety. The contractions had stopped, but Dr. Park's orders were clear. Complete bed rest. Hyun-woo never left. He set up his laptop, turned my hospital room into his office. Code on one monitor, my vitals on another. His left hand on the keyboard, his right holding mine. You should go to the office, I'd say. I am at the office. Hyun-woo, this is where I need to be. Park Sun-hee brought files. Video conferences happened from my bedside. The company ran smoothly. Turned out, a CEO could lead from anywhere. At 30 weeks, his mother came. She stood at the foot of my bed, silent. Then her eyes went to Hyun-woo, to the way he sat beside me, protective, to the laptop on his knee, to the dark circles under his eyes from refusing to sleep anywhere but the hospital chair. You're really not leaving him, she said quietly. Never. She sat. Her hands trembled as she reached for mine. I was wrong. About everything. About you. I thought I was protecting my son. I thought love made you weak. But watching you too. Her voice broke. Love made him strong. Made him whole. I almost destroyed that because I was afraid. Tears spilled. I'm so sorry, Jae-min. For what I said. For what I demanded. I was cruel. You were scared, I said quietly. Watching your son change and not understanding why. I understand now. He's happy. Truly happy. She looked at Hyun-woo. I'm sorry. To both of you. If you'll let me, I'd like to be better. To be the mother and grandmother you deserve. Hyun-woo's voice was soft. Stay. Meet your grandchildren. She stayed. Brought books. Sat with us. Slowly rebuilt what she'd broken. At 34 weeks, everything changed. Dr. Park's expression was serious. Your blood pressure is rising. The baby's growth has plateaued. We need to deliver them. Tomorrow. Tomorrow. 24 hours. That night, Hyun-woo climbed into the narrow hospital bed beside me. Against policy. Neither of us cared. His hands spread across my stomach. 3 distinct bulges. They kicked against his palm. Tomorrow, I whispered. They'll be here. We'll meet them. Finally. I'm terrified. Me too. His voice steady despite the words. But we can do this. How do you know? Because we've survived everything else. VP Min. The media. Preterm labor. If we can get through all that, we can handle 3 tiny humans. I laughed watery. 3 tiny humans who are going to cry and need constant feeding. And we'll figure it out. Together. He pressed his lips to my temple. I promise. We'll be okay. All 5 of us. What if I'm not a good parent? Impossible. You're already worried about it. That's all they need. Parents who love them and try. One baby kicked hard under his hand. He laughed. I think that was agreement. Or protest at being squished. Probably protest. They're cramped in there. We lay in dim light, feeling them move. Stealing these last quiet moments. Tomorrow, the calm would shatter. Tomorrow, our family of 2 would become 5. But tonight, we had peace. I love you, he whispered. I love you too. No matter what happens tomorrow, we'll handle it. Together. Together. The babies moved between us. 3 lives waiting to be born. 3 miracles we'd fought for. Tomorrow, we'd meet them. Tonight, we held each other and waited for dawn. The operating room was cold. Too bright. Antiseptic and fear. I lay strapped to the table, blue curtain blocking my view. The anesthesiologist had numbed me, but I could feel pressure, tugging. I can't do this, I whispered. Yes, you can. Hyunwoo's face appeared above mine. You're the bravest person I know. I'm terrified. Me too. But we're together, remember? His hand found mine. I'm right here. Dr. Park's voice. Starting now. Hyunwoo started talking. Constant, steady. You're so brave. So strong. I love you so much. 3 babies, Jaemin. We're about to meet them. Pressure. Pulling. Then a cry. Thin, angry. Baby A is out. It's a boy. I sobbed. Hyunwoo pressed his forehead to mine, tears falling. A boy. We have a son. Another cry. Baby B, another boy. 2 sons, Hyunwoo choked. 2 boys. More pressure. Then the 3rd cry. Baby C is a girl. A daughter. Hyunwoo was fully crying. 2 boys and a girl. They're here. 3 distinct cries. 3 voices we'd know anywhere now. Minjun, Taeyong, and Haewon, Hyunwoo said. Bright beginnings, sun, and graceful garden. Dr. Park appeared. They're small, Minjun 4 pounds 2 ounces, Taeyong 315, Haewon 312. But breathing on their own. Strong heartbeats. They'll need NICU care, but they're fighters. They brought them over, one by one. Minjun, serious face, fists clenched. Taeyong, already squirming. Haewon, peaceful. Hi, I whispered. I'm your daddy. This is your appa. We love you. Then they were gone to the NICU. The first 2 weeks were hell. NICU was monitors and wires. Our babies, tiny, fragile, lay in incubators. Feeding tubes. Heart monitors. Every beep sent my heart racing. We lived at the hospital. Sleeping in chairs. Learning to change tiny diapers, feed through tubes, celebrating every ounce gained. But there was wonder. Hyunwoo singing lullabies, rusty and off-key but full of love. Old Korean songs. Different ones for each baby. Minjun liked slow melodies. He'd calm instantly. Taeyong preferred upbeat songs. He'd kick and wiggle. Haewon fell asleep to anything. At 3 weeks, Minjun grabbed Hyunwoo's finger. Just wrapped his fist around it and held on. Hyunwoo broke down, crying as our son gripped his finger. He's so small, Hyunwoo whispered. But so strong. Like his appa. I want to give them everything I never had. I want them to know they're loved. Every single day. They will. You haven't stopped talking to them since they were born. True. The silent CEO was gone. In his place, constant narration. Okay, Minjun, changing your diaper now. I know it's cold. We'll be quick. At 6 weeks, Dr. Park gave the word. They could come home. The penthouse had transformed. My mother-in-law had overseen everything. Minimalist space gone. In its place, 3 cribs, changing station, toys scattered, baby-proofing everywhere. It's chaos, Hyunwoo said. It's perfect. First night home was terrifying. 3 babies, different schedules. Minjun woke at midnight. Taeyong at 2 a.m. Haewon at 3 a.m. We moved like zombies, passing babies, heating bottles, changing diapers, praying for sleep. At 4 a.m., I found Hyunwoo on the nursery floor, all 3 babies in bouncy seats around him. He was reading a book about the moon, doing different voices. Hyunwoo, they're not even looking. But they're listening. Look, he was right. All 3 quiet, eyes tracking his voice. Minjun's hand waved. Taeyong's foot kicked. Haewon nearly asleep, but listening. You're doing voices, I said. The rabbit has to sound different from the owl. Basic storytelling. Before I tell you what happens next, subscribe to Starry-Eyed Lovers, and tell me where you're watching from. I sat beside him. 6 months ago, you didn't speak. Now you're doing character voices at 4 a.m. 6 months ago, I was alone. Now I have you. And them. He looked at the babies. Everything changed. Everything's better. Even at 4 a.m. covered in spit up? Especially then. Minjun started fussing. I picked him up. His tiny fist curled into my shirt. Such perfect trust. We made these, I whispered. 3 whole people. 3 miracles. At 5 a.m., we got them all down. Crashed into bed, 2 hours before it started again. His arm over me. Through the monitor, 3 tiny humans breathing. Best thing I ever did, Hyunwoo mumbled. Hiring me. Loving you. All of you. I fell asleep smiling. Despite exhaustion. Despite chaos. Despite knowing we'd be up again soon. Because he was right. This chaos, this noise, this beautiful mess. It was everything. The first thing that hit me when I opened the door was noise. Appa! Appa home! Taeyong's shriek echoed. He barreled toward me, all wild energy and sticky hands. Hi, buddy. I scooped him up. Were you good today? No, he said cheerfully. I painted the wall. Fantastic. Minjun appeared cautiously. At 2, he was already the thoughtful one, always watching. Daddy said you'd be proud. Of the painting. Oh, he did. It's very abstract, Hyunwoo called from the kitchen. Very blue. Also on the couch. Taeyong zoomed off. Minjun slipped his hand into mine. We found Hyunwoo at the stove, Haewon on his hip. Hey, he said, leaning to kiss me. Haewon wanted her own kiss. How was your day? Closed the Anderson deal, revolutionized our AI security, learned our son can reach paint supplies on the top shelf. Productive. 2 years ago, he would have stressed. Now he just adapted. Already ordered repaint supplies. He handed me a spoon. Taste this. Delicious. The man who once survived on takeout had become a cook because he'd read home-cooked meals were better for development. After dinner, chaotic, with Taeyong flinging noodles, Haewon eating vegetables methodically, Minjun asking 14 questions about pasta shapes, came bath time. The daily water explosion. Taeyong treated it like a pool. Minjun conducted experiments. Haewon played peacemaker. I've got this, Hyunwoo said, rolling up sleeves. I promised Taeyong I'd do the voices. The voices? All bath toys have characters now. It's a whole universe. I listened from the living room. The purple octopus had a British accent. The rubber duck was Surfer Bro. The boat was a grumpy old man. 2 years ago, this man barely spoke. Now he was doing improv for 3 toddlers. Later, after baths and pajamas and toothbrushing struggles, we collapsed. Hyunwoo grabbed a book. The same one requested every night for a month. All 3 piled on him. Minjun in his lap. Taeyong across his legs. Haewon against his side. He read with different voices, sound effects, dramatic pauses. They hung on every word. Watching him, I felt overwhelmingly grateful. What are you thinking? He asked. That I love you. That this is everything. Even with blue paint? Especially with blue paint. The kids started yawning. We got them to separate cribs. They lasted 30 minutes before we heard small feet. Bad dream, Minjun whispered. Missed you, Taeyong added. Lonely, Haewon said. We looked at each other. Come on, Hyunwoo said, and they climbed into our bed. Minjun curled against me. Taeyong sprawled across us. Haewon tucked against Hyunwoo's shoulder. The books say. The books can wait. His hand found mine across the children. This matters more. We lay in darkness, listening to 3 sets of tiny breathing. I never knew, Hyunwoo said quietly. I spent years thinking silence made me strong. But this, he gestured at the chaos. This noise, this mess, this beautiful chaos, this is what strength actually sounds like. You're a good father. I do cartoon voices at 3 a.m. and let them paint walls blue. Exactly. A good father. We did okay, didn't we? Better than okay. Look at them. 3 small miracles, breathing softly, trusting us completely. Minjun thoughtful. Taeyong wild. Haewon peaceful. Each perfectly themselves. You broke my silence, Hyunwoo said. Changed everything. No, I corrected. I didn't break anything. I just helped you remember your voice was always there, waiting for the right reason to speak. You matter. They matter. I know. And we're not going anywhere. Promise. Always. Taeyong snored. Minjun's hand curled into my shirt. Haewon sighed contentedly. 2 years ago, we were 2 people in a silent office. Now we were 5 loud, messy, perfectly imperfect. The story began with silence. With a man who'd learned to protect himself by never speaking. With a chatty Omega who refused to accept that silence. It ended with words. But not just any words. I love you, said freely. Appa and Daddy, shouted with joy. Stories in silly voices. Explanations of engineering to toddlers. Off-key lullabies at 3 a.m. The introvert alpha who'd hidden behind silence had learned. Love isn't loud or quiet. It's not about volume. It's about being present. Showing up. Choosing connection over isolation. Chaos over perfection. Messy reality over polished pretense. It's about coming home to sticky hands and blue walls and children who think you hung the moon. It's everything. And as we lay there, hands clasped across our sleeping children, I knew. We'd found it. All of it. Together.